Hello, everyone. Namaste. Welcome to our channel and say hello to Caruso. I am sitting in his house in
Namaste.
Thailand.
Sawadee hello.
We are so excited to be doing this together in person because it's only been on the opposite sides of Zoom so far. So, this is very exciting for me and for you.
Yeah, as well. I was thinking, but we did only too much noise in Italy and you were in India, or we did one when I was already here.
Yeah.
Yes, what? I was already here?
Yeah. At
Okay.
least one, maybe, maybe
Okay.
more.
So Ashwita came in Phuket just to see the island and we
No, I
had
came
a
to see you. The island is a bonus.
okay. So she said she came to see me, and we got together to do this video talking about meditation because I meditate, I teach meditation, she meditate even more than me. And we are in a country where meditation is really important because Thailand is the town of the what's the name of this Buddhism?
Theravada.
Theravada Buddhism. So it's really important. Monks here, they meditate, and to spoiler something, they say meditation on the breathing, like they
Mm.
meditate and they say one, they meditate and they say two, then they breathe and they say three. No, not meditate, but they take a breath and they say three and then they start again. And there are monks here, they meditate like this for the rest of their life. They don't complicate,
Mm.
they don't over exaggerate.
Yeah.
So we're talking about this topic because there are lots of business involved in that. There is mindfulness, there are psychological studies and scientific studies. It's really important to meditate, but also there are some topic that it's good to discuss. So we want to start as program, and as I see, with why. Why you think someone should meditate?
I don't think anyone should meditate.
Hmm.
It depends on them, I think. It's like this evolution, not everyone can meditate according to me also. Like, but I think over time you start reaching a point where it's not enough, the existential questions where you start reaching this point where who am I starts coming up and all of these things start coming. So I think mostly it naturally happens to brilliant minds. Like the more brilliant your mind is, it's like having these extremely strong, powerful horses in your farm, and you don't know how to control any of them. So, eventually they start destroying you. The mind starts destroying you. So at some point, you reach a stage where you need to go beyond the mind altogether. That's when meditation, even if you don't do a class, I think it automatically starts happening, and then you want to channelize it more effectively through a process.
That's a real, because this is the second step, it's method, east and west, and it's already ingrained in this uh, answer that you gave. Because I think for people from east, you're talking about India perspective,
Yeah.
obviously, there is lots of religion, lots of spirituality involved. So meditation is something that ingrains this part of the spirituality, the journey that you do. So many people in, I'm from Italy, but I mean the Western world, take in consideration meditation when they don't feel good.
Mm.
So when they start to have some problems and they start to ask themselves what's happening, and then they go closer to meditation like a cure, like a therapy.
Mm.
First, and most important for me, it's to remember that meditation is not itself a therapy. To me, I always teach it can gives you some result, it can gives you lots of results and lots of answer, but it's not itself a therapy.
Yeah.
Therapy should be a therapy, and when you investigate in yourself, there's nothing wrong. You just Watch what is it and not what it's supposed to be. And it's a different mindset from Westerner or from the East. I think for this reason, because in the East you are already you get used
Yeah.
to ask certain question about who am I, who's God, yeah, certain existence questions.
Yeah.
In Western world, we more attach about the outcome. And
Mm.
another thing that I say, because I said for me, at least for me, this is my humble opinion, meditation is not a therapy, but also I think we shouldn't meditate with in mind an outcome, like
Yes.
to achieve
Yeah.
something.
Yeah. I
And
completely agree.
this is something that I discover so many teachers in mindfulness. They say before you start to meditate, you need to clarify to yourself why you meditate, what's the purpose of this meditation. And to me, it's like not functioning very well because you're already tricking your mind to do
Yeah.
something else.
Yeah.
So you pointing in a direction where you should point everywhere, just to be the observer.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts about it?
Well, first, before we get into that, you were saying meditation is not therapy. I think sometimes you need therapy to deal with what meditation brings up, you know?
So so well said. So well
Yeah.
said. There are studies now that they say it's not good to meditate too much. But then
Yeah.
we will say about there's a point here, practice, how to practice, how long practice.
Yeah.
But also they discovered there are certain people they shouldn't meditate
Yeah.
because for them it's too much to take.
Yeah.
It's too heavy to what they discovered about themselves.
Yeah.
So they should be trained before.
Yeah. I mean, even in India, this meditation is not what you start with at all. You know, you begin with stabilizing the body, and then you begin with stabilizing the breath, and then you learn to slowly, slowly turn inwards, and then you learn to concentrate, and then meditation comes. But we don't like waiting in this generation. We want to jump into everything. So,
I know there's a guy, I don't remember the names, I'm not good in names and dates.
same.
Yeah. So this guy came in the Western world and he want to rush a lot the path of meditation. And he was say, okay, you close your eyes, you search for yourself. As soon as you're ready, you turn the camera
Mm-hmm.
just to see the observer.
Mm-hmm.
To me, it's skipping
Yeah.
too many steps,
Yeah.
because if you cannot, first of all, you can fall down and hurt yourself,
Mm.
or start to believe that is only a cognitive exercise,
Yeah.
which meditation is not. You
Yeah.
want to dig in these thoughts?
Yeah. It's see, if we go back to the core reason, I think ultimately everyone is doing meditation for a reason. None of us are doing it without any reason at all.
I agree.
Uh, so as far as the previous point is concerned, meditate for a reason, do it for I think those who meditate for a very vague reason, like you and I, it's not a precise reason. They always have a problem with this reason-based meditation because we know that that's not actually meditation. But
Mm.
that's all that those people can manage,
Mm,
so it's
yes.
okay, it's good enough for them. But at the same time, graduating beyond, I forgot what your question was though.
No, was when teachers skip too many
Oh
steps.
yeah.
Yeah. What do you think about it?
Yeah, this
Because we rush a lot, yeah.
yeah, so that's the same thing, right? When you're driven by reason, this happens a lot in spiritual growth, and it does happen in India as well. A lot of people reach out to me because we have this lure of the siddhis, right? I'll get so many powers. So everyone with low self-esteem thinks that if I just meditate enough, I get all these powers and then I will get respect and all of that. But that is not at all the case. It'll break you first. And if you already start with a low self-esteem, it's going to go there. So it's even with Reiki, when people come to me, level two is enough actually if you really want to enjoy the, as I call it, the honeymoon period. Now, after that, you start getting beatings after level three. But everyone does level two and they're like, give me more. I want more. I want more healing power. I want more everything. I want level three. And I'm like, it's not, that journey is over now. Now it's time for you to break down. So
Yeah, it
going
happens.
too fast is extremely dangerous. If you manage to go somewhere, most people, they, tires just get punctured and they're sitting in the middle of the road going nowhere.
Mm,
That's okay.
yeah,
That's safe, but it can get really bad.
but sometimes also it happens that people that they don't like what they feel, they don't like who they are,
Yeah.
they start to meditate and they find out more
About who they are.
about what they don't want, what they don't like.
Yeah.
And instead of observing that and says, okay, what can I change? What can I not change? Should I change? Should I accept? And investigate more, they start to react, they start to
Mm.
make resistance. And
Yeah.
the more you resist, the more it persists the problem.
Yeah.
So this kind of letting go
Therapy.
in, yeah,
You need therapy for that.
yeah. So
I think
so
it
many
was
people
so.
need, I use this word consciously, needs a guru or needs
Yeah.
someone, a guide, or maybe also kind of a course that says, okay, before you do this,
Yeah.
it's better if you visit this place, think about this mindset, or adjust yourself,
Yeah.
some goals that you want to achieve.
Yeah.
So many times we see that in this world we rush so much that when we achieve the goal, we not even give a value of the
Mm.
goal because it was so quick.
Yeah.
So we lose that kind of value. And
Yeah.
in meditation is the, at least for me, it's the way around, because every day you're gonna close your eyes and you're gonna be there
Yeah.
and there and there and then you start to ask, and then what?
Yeah.
And in
And
that moment you should wait more, not rush more.
yeah, especially if there are some people who've had these amazing experiences, right? And after that, they've just never meditated again because every moment after that is oh, it hasn't happened yet. Oh,
Yeah,
just maybe in another 5 minutes it happens to me. And you're like, that is not, your meditation is finished. The last time you had that experience, just, things come and go. I
yes.
think the last mind-blowing experience, the first actually, the mind-blowing experience I had was way back in 2007, probably 2008 or 2009. And then the next one
Mm,
after that was
wow, it's a long
straight,
time ago.
yeah. So after that, the next one was, I think, straight away after 2013 for sure. So maybe 2014. So that's that many years before it happened again.
Mm,
So if I was waiting for that, but luckily for me, this, it has been drilled in so much, it comes and goes. It's just an experience. You don't give it value.
yeah, or you give the value that he has, not more.
Yeah.
I mean, you cannot expect that every time you close your eyes it is the same, for many 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 reasons. And what I said in the beginning, we should observe what it is, not what it's supposed to be. Sometimes, and it happens in hypnosis as well. Yeah,
Mm.
tell me if you agree. We see a video when people close their eyes, they do like this, and we infer, we say, we
Yeah.
think, oh, he's doing that.
Yeah.
Oh, you see how deep it is. Going toward the next topic, the deep and the states. Yeah. And so we see the people in the posture of meditation and they do, oh, see, they meditate. No, that's just a posture. That's something that you see from
Mm.
outside. You don't
Yeah.
know what's happening inside,
Yeah.
So question, how you think, how important you think it is to deepen, or the states, or this thing that we call states of meditation? Because you already know, for me it's bullshit a lot. Because sometimes if I can say deepen or not deepen, sometimes I'm so aware that I cannot say I'm in certain states. I'm just aware. I'm not in deep where,
Yeah.
first of all, but I'm not anywhere if not ev- everywhere.
Yeah.
And I'm so awake, fully awake, and meditate and focus and concentrate that I cannot call it a state. It's just a journey, a flow
Yeah.
of instant after instant.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah.
What do you think about this? Deepen and states.
See, meditation is about going beyond the mind. We agree on that,
Mm,
right? So, what is the mind? The mind is that which perceives or labels or measures the world in the five senses. Even when we are thinking, it's one of the five senses, right? You're either
I
imagining
agree.
something or feeling, it's all the five senses. Now,
I say this. Sorry if I interrupt.
yeah,
I say this in a different way, but every time you say in an elegant way, more than me, because I say the brain is the fabric of the mind, and the
yeah,
mind is that part of us that interprets
yeah,
signal from perception. So,
yeah,
but this is underlined once again that I'm a Westerner and you from East, yeah. And we
yeah,
bringing up this topic
yeah,
because it's important for people to see also comparison and to see different perspective. We're
yeah,
talking we're talking about the same topic,
yeah.
yeah. But it's so funny what you said, yeah.
So
No
now,
fun, no funny, interesting. Sorry for my English.
same thing. So my point is, how do we know that we're deep
Mm,
if we are not measuring it with these five senses? Like every time, if you think you have gone deep in meditation, describe what deep means to me without using the five senses.
cannot.
So if you think you are going deep, that is your mind.
Yes.
It's the mind that goes deep, but meditation is beyond the mind.
Yeah, cannot outside, cannot inside.
Yeah,
Because outside, inside, at a
they're
certain
one.
point is one.
Yeah,
Yeah, you,
yeah,
you reach that kind of conviction.
mm,
Is one. Your
yeah,
perception, it's a vehicle to navigate this kind of reality. We call it duality, okay,
yeah,
or you call it Maya in your tradition,
yeah,
okay.
yeah,
But as soon as you go over the perception, over the conceptualization or intellect or what the mind interpret, you don't have grasp to say I'm in a state or not. Yeah, that's the point. That's a good point. So that kind, of division,
mm,
we have a part of us that say, let's see, am I deep enough to say that you're already out of the meditation
yeah.
itself?
Who is deep?
Yes.
Yeah.
Then you start to ask to yourself, who is this voice that is talking to me?
Have you ever gone crazy with that? Like, uh, you know, I'm thinking too much. Wait, who is bothered that you're thinking too much? Wait, who is asking that question? Oh no, who is asking that question? It'll...
Yeah. Actually, in my course, in my meditation course, it's a practice course. I don't want
Yeah,
to talk too much. I want to
yeah,
practice, but I teach them how to recognize the inner voice.
yeah,
If their inner voice, what
yeah,
quality is the inner voice? And in the meantime that they do this exercise, they don't understand they do so other many things
yeah,
to understand this division that we have, not only with the outside, but also
yeah,
inside.
yeah.
There is lots of things that if you don't let them go or let them be,
Let them be.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's better.
yeah,
You cannot not even appreciate the being itself.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, yesterday I told you I was doing a chat with ChatGPT
yeah,
about the being, and
yeah.
I will release the video very soon. I will try to translate in English. I
Right.
will try because it's curious. But talking about the being, so, do you think that we can say meditation can let you understand who you are, how you are, or is a research of a being? How you would describe the process of meditation? What is meditation? There are too much noise. That's what we call, yeah, this too much noise.
Yeah.
What? How do you describe this?
I think meditation is the process of not caring anymore that you don't know shit.
Mm.
Because the truth is,
I understand what you want to say, but
yeah,
say in different words, because people, when you say don't care about this,
yeah,
they immediately detach.
yeah, no,
So
yeah.
let's investigate more. Let's dig in.
So basically, you reach a stage where you're completely comfortable with not knowing who you are, and yet you're completely comfortable with what you're supposed to do without identifying with the outcome. So it's so funny because you were saying all these meditation gurus are like, meditate for this, whereas the whole premise is detach from the outcome, do what you're meant to do, meditate. Even when I recommend, like, when I do astrology, sometimes I'll see their horoscope and I'm like,
Yes.
this chanting is good for you. And people are like, what will it do? And I'm like, no, you don't do it for a reason. Just do it because I said so. I'm sorry, I don't work like that normally,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I
in terms
understand
of
that.
parenting, I don't do that. But I'm like, you've just, if you are asking me this question, you just do it because I said so, because you should be doing it for no reason other than it's good for me. Why would you not do that? It's good. But otherwise you're like, I'm doing this because I want more money, or I want this blog to
Mm,
go,
mm,
and no. So
mm.
then it's a transaction. It's not a seva, is in Hindi we say seva. It's vaguely translates to service, but even service has an ego in it.
In the Western world, lots of rich people meditate because they are under stress,
Yeah.
because they want to calm down, be the mind, um, let the mind become workable,
Yeah.
more malleable, more uh, uh, more calm, so they can do whatever they want to do,
Make more money.
or make more money, or
Yeah.
have more power. Doesn't matter. But the meaning is this: in a certain way, they are meditating, but to me, they are so far away from the point. You know, so doing sport, it's about your health. If you do sport because you want to win, to me, you're so far away from the concept of sport itself.
Yes,
And that's
I
the
agree.
analogy that I
Yeah.
use with meditation. You shouldn't be attached to what happened
Yeah.
because you heard that you can be more calm, that you can, and then after 2 days, you say, I'm not calm, so it doesn't work. No, you are to attach, and that attachment, it has to be detached. As soon as you detach, you start to see separation. Oh, but now I'm not. Oh, I'm separated. Be patient. Be calm. Be humble. Be so.
Yeah.
What I call these, I call them tools. And you need to sharp these tools every day because you need to
Yeah.
be patient. It's not every day sunny. Sometimes it's raining. Sometimes it's hot. Sometimes it's cold. You need different clothes. Okay, but you don't have to be always upset because it's cold or because it's hot. You change, you move, you accept what is it.
Yeah.
And in a town close to my village, they say, if it rains, let it rain. Like, who
Yeah.
cares? Yeah,
Yeah.
let it be like this. So if you
Yeah.
discover something through meditation that you don't like about yourself, don't discard immediately. Remember, you're not what you perceive. You're
Mm.
not your sensation. You're not your emotion. You're not what you believe. You're not
Mm.
your beliefs, your thoughts. You're not that. You're the one who observed that.
Yeah.
It seems, but I know because when I speak about this, also I speak a lot with Westerner.
Mm-hmm.
So they believe it's a cognitive function. It's, oh, I get it. No, you need to pass through an experience. And now we talk about experience, the next topic.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm linking up what we wrote for the program.
Yeah.
Talking about the experience, what do you think about the experience of meditation? Which I think it should be a big topic apart of
Mm.
the methods of meditation that
Yeah.
we talk. What do you
Yeah.
think about the experience of meditation?
I think it's really about becoming the experiencer, which is so hard. It's very easy to say. Uh, but it's, I think, going much beyond. what's going on. Like everyone has this misconception that meditation is about, I feel so calm and I feel so good. And that's what happens as the beginner's luck. You know, initially you meditate and you're like, oh, I feel so good. And all the meditation retreats I've done with my teacher, like 10, 12 days, no eye contact, no speaking, nothing, no reading,
So hard.
no, like at the most some painting, but nothing else, and luckily it was very well balanced also. So she would help us release what was coming up. But every single retreat, I have had to take one day off because I was so sick by day 9 or so, all this suppressed anger would come up. And for me, it comes up physically. So I'm throwing up and I can't stop throwing up. Everything is out, but I'm still, convulsing because it just won't stop. Like it was so intense.
Yes.
And, it's not fun. Day 6 for me, and this changed after I started doing aggressive EFT, by the way.
Mm.
But till I got to that stage, day 6 was always hell for me, like, and it's a silent retreat, nobody's talking. First 2 3 days you're fine, you're like, oh yeah, I'm meditating so well, my mind is so calm. And day 6 for me is like, make this stop, please stop thinking, I can't do this anymore, my mind is
Yeah.
and and Jacqueline is like, I can see all of you are going very deep.
Mm.
And I'm like, except me.
Except
I'm
me.
not going deep at all. This is horrible. You know?
Yes, and I think just because we speak a lot about this,
Yeah.
okay, and we are free to speak, but I want to be sure that people who will listen or will see this video knows not everybody can go to these retreats.
Yeah.
It's not easy.
Yeah.
It can turn like a hell, really. And what Ashwita she's saying is something that she create over and over during a lifetime. It's not something that you jump in 10 days retreat, you shut up, you close your eyes, you don't watch nobody in the eyes. There is so many things to do that can really create a strong reaction inside. And if you're not prepared, don't do it. Don't believe to those kind of quote unquote church or temples that they say, oh, you're gonna be fine, you're gonna be fine. Of course, if you deprivate yourself and you start to detach from thoughts, from connection, from words, from lots of things, when you finish 1 week, 10 days, 3 days, 5 days, there are lots of retreats, and then you go in the world, you feel like overwhelmed, you feel like overstimulated
Mm,
because you didn't have.
yeah.
It's like when you stay in a dark room, pitch black for one day,
Yeah.
the moment you get outside is too much.
Yeah.
So I think we should take in consideration that meditation, it's okay if you do it between 15 and 30 minutes every day,
Yeah.
consciously, with a program in mind, not an outcome, but a program. Okay, so maybe sometimes I decide that today I don't meditate. After, I don't know, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, I take a rest, I see what happens, and I deal with myself. Because that self we're talking about, sometimes also, I like Advaita Vedanta, talking about self, it's so easy. You jump immediately in Brahma, you jump immediately in you are Atman, but it's not that easy for Westerner people.
Mm.
We tend to construct our identity, and we hug our identity so tight. Then when someone says you're not that one, you start to create resistance, and you say,
Yeah.
if I'm not this, who am I? But that who am I, you start to be insisting, you
Yeah.
start to be really aggressive toward yourself. So talking about experience, you were saying that if you reach a certain point that you feel in a certain state, as soon as you define it as a state, it means you are using your perception.
Yeah.
If you use your perception, you're losing the focus of meditation,
Yeah.
which is that the kind of detachment. But detachment, it doesn't matter. You see, the words are so tricky. Ashwita, we always say like this.
Yeah.
So detachment, it doesn't mean I detach from this cup, is not mine anymore.
Yeah.
It's like observing what is it from that point. Maybe tomorrow is gonna be something else, and whoa, how can be changed so just watch, observe. In Advaita Vedanta, they say you are the witness
Yeah.
of the reality,
Yeah.
which is so complex. Talking about witness,
Who is the witness, you know?
yeah, but it's
Yeah.
like something happened out of my control, out of my experience, out of my,
Yeah.
I'm the experience of the experience itself.
Yeah.
So am I the subject or the object? Is the object part of the creation of the subject? I mean, you can dig in meditation so much. And then when you open your eyes, you, I think, for my experience, talking about experience, you realize you don't have to try so hard in life.
Yeah.
You don't have to suffer so much to do something good. You don't have to eat so much. You don't have to
Yeah.
love so much. Love
Yeah.
is love. It's not a lot of love or few little bit drops of love. Yeah. So you start to live in a different way.
Mm.
Again, I'm worried every time that I work with people because those are words.
Mm.
They try to understand with their cognitive part, with the
Mm.
mind, they interpret, they associate something that I say what with what they understand,
Mm.
and they believe they have already understand.
Yeah.
No, it's a process. So talking about the
Usually they
practice,
misunderstand.
yes. So talking about the practice, what do you suggest to practice for people who never meditate? Let's talk about the beginning. They never meditate, but they kind of curious. They say, "Oh, no, this meditation, my friends talking about meditation. My mom said to me, meditate, yeah." What do you think is a good practice to start?
I think before we even begin, we have to first understand that if you have a busy or a nonsensical mind,
Mm.
that is precisely why you should meditate. A lot of people come to me and say, I don't meditate because my mind is overactive. And I'm like, that's like telling me, Ashwita, I don't do yoga because I'm not flexible at all. Well, that's exactly why you should
Well,
be
you,
doing yoga, you know?
I
So you
should do
have,
yoga more because I'm not flexible. Anyway, sorry, this is my problem.
we will
Okay.
do a session.
Yeah.
So so yeah, you know, I mean, you, if you have an overactive mind, that's exactly why you need to be meditating, because an overactive mind, uh actually it can be easier to meditate with an overactive mind than a quiet mind. You know, this was very very life changing for me, because actually, because I, you know, I've been meditating since I was a child, and the first time I was around 20ish, I wrote an article on how to meditate. I actually, believe it or not, I actually started the article like this. I said, if you want to meditate, just sit down and close your eyes and stop thinking. And honestly, for me, that was it. But you
It
know, if you don't,
sounds so
I know,
easy, but
that is how it was for
no.
me. That is how it was for me at that point. And then I was like, but you know, if you don't understand this, then blah, 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 the rest of the article. Now, I think 7 or 8 years later, I was going through all things, you know what I was going through, and I couldn't get my mind to stop. It was utter hell, you know, the spirals and the spirals. So I was sitting in the meditation retreat in front of my teacher, and I was like, oh God, this, I don't know what to do. May someone make this stop, you know? And some question I asked her at the end of the satsang, I said, what do I do about this? And she said, the mind is like a screensaver. So sometimes it's like this blue screensaver, and you know, there's a daisy going by every couple of minutes. And then other times it's like an aquarium. You've got the starfish, and you've got the, you know, the crab is crawling up and stuff. Like, just like,
Strange analogy. Anyway,
yeah. But in either case, don't forget, it's just a screensaver. And that just set me free. You know, I was like, oh,
I
I
understand.
don't have to worry about this mess anymore. You know, it's just the mind. It's not who I am.
Mm, I understand,
Yeah.
but it takes practice
Oh yeah.
because I know lots of people when they hear these kind of sentences, they say, "Oh, so it means I shouldn't bother about what I think. I shouldn't bother what I feel. I shouldn't bother what my thoughts." Oh, well, no,
I think
no.
no,
There's moments and moments.
a lot of Indians are in that category as well. A lot of everybody thinks if I meditate, it means I should just not feel, and I'm like that. Those are psychopaths. Actually, that's not.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it can be dangerous because you believe then that you cannot give credit to thoughts or credit to sensation, which in the first place, those tools, I call them tools, they help you to navigate this reality, this duality. And we are inside duality. We
yeah,
tend to understand through duality what is non-duality. Or you should say we try to understand through Maya what's Brahman,
yeah,
because we say Brahman, it manifests itself through Maya. So Maya, its manifestation itself about Brahman.
yeah,
But it takes practice,
yeah.
because there's a certain moment you say, okay, I release these thoughts because now is the moment that I observe. But sometimes we need to associate to those thoughts. I know, because I do my job, you do your job. Sometimes we ask clients, say, okay, take these thoughts in consideration and let's analyze it. Let's break it down. So you need in certain way to say, this is my thoughts, this is my
I think
creation.
I
But it's not meditation. We
Yeah, I think that both kind of separate because meditation is about realizing that you are not the mind, but then the mind also needs training. This is also why we say you need therapy, right? So you need to increase your understanding, you need to do your meditation to go deeper, and then you need to develop the habits to be able to use the thoughts properly. Like, for example, this is white. This is a white mug. Now, and that's a black shirt,
Mm.
you know. So, but if I'm going, oh my God, this is a white mug. Oh my God, that's a black shirt. That's a problem. So if you can just be like, hmm, white mug, hmm, black shirt, but not white mug. The last time I drank in a white mug, I was sitting back in India and I was sending an email to so, and he replied to, so
It's not to become a romance,
yeah,
a book.
yeah.
Well, yeah, yeah. We attach so easy to things.
Yeah. So the environment, like I was saying, the ext meditation is about being at ease. That's it. With the external environment, like you were saying, it's raining, it's raining. What can you do about it? You have an umbrella, good. If you don't, too bad, get wet. What can you do?
Yeah,
You know?
yeah,
And but most people forget, even a lot of Indians forget this. It's about the inner environment as well. You're
yes,
depressed, but you can also meditate, and so that is what needs the training, right? Like if you're depressed and you meditate, it makes you more depressed according to science. But
absolutely,
if you are
yes.
used to meditating, it's like jumping off a boat into the sea, right? The first thing that happens is you actually go deeper, you go down. So if you're afraid of drowning, you should not be jumping off a boat.
Yes,
But if you know how to swim, you know you're not going to drown, but you are going to go, your nose is going to go underwater. And there's going to be a split second when you cannot see anything or breathe, you know? So you
yes,
go deeper into the meditation, you feel it, you experience it, and you're like, yeah, okay, just going deeper. And then you come back to the surface and you're fine. And you're fine with both. But pretending like nothing exists, there is no boat. There's the Advaita, they do this a lot, right? You're like, Ashwita, I'm having this headache. I'm like, who has a headache? Who has a head? The head does not exist. Therefore, the pain
yeah,
does not
yeah.
exist.
You,
You know,
y-
okay, now the slap does not exist and
you
your anger
Atman,
does not
you
exist.
Atman, you're already Brahman. That's it, done.
Yeah,
But no, it's not done. It's not
yeah.
done. Then we need to say also that if you want to do the monk life,
Hmm.
you take it like a professional life, because
Yeah,
they do 8 hours a day,
yeah,
they eat certain food, they prepare themselves, but we're not monk.
yeah,
So it's really crazy to believe that you cross your leg, you close your eyes, and you're there for 8 hours. It's not, it's damaging yourself. You need to practice slowly by slowly,
Yeah.
progressively. And I want to say something about a ADHD.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they discover that these guys or girls, young, they have mm, good result to meditate. They cannot meditate 15 minutes. They cannot. Even if it's 2 minutes, they sit there and they try to relax and see the thoughts just as thoughts. It's already a big progress.
Wow.
But as I said, for because also I'm a breath coach, as I say, when you start to breathing, it takes between 3 months and 6 months to see the real change. Yes, of course,
Yeah.
you feel better, but the
Yeah.
real change, it takes time.
Yeah.
And if you are a breath coach and you don't say something like this because you want to sell some session more,
Yeah.
you're a piece of shit. You're not saying the truth. And the same is with meditation.
Hmm.
You need months of meditation to stabilize certain kind of result, quote unquote result.
Yeah.
And I come back to the why. If you want to know more about what's gonna happen after 5 weeks, 3 months, 6 months, 1 year, that you meditate regularly,
Mm-hmm.
you go on Google Scholar and you search for meditation result or meditation outcomes or meditation and science, and you have 100 millions
Yeah.
articles that
Yeah.
they tell you your immune system get better, your breathing get better, your thoughts are better, you function better with the relationship, and yada 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 yada, a lot of this. Still, you shouldn't, this is my humble opinion, you shouldn't meditate because that one is a byproduct of meditation. It's not what meditation it's done. It's about, do you really want to know something about yourself? So sit and meditate. And talking about the practice, in the very first lesson of my course, I say what you said. So for 5 minutes, I deal with people that they never meditate, but they want to learn how to meditate.
Mm.
So I gave them lots of methods, lots of stuff to ingrain and exercise as well.
Yeah.
And I say to them, okay, for 5 minutes, you close your eyes, you don't do absolutely anything
Yeah.
at all.
Yeah.
That's your task. Don't do nothing.
Practice sitting is how I like to say it.
Sit
Just
still
sit. Just
there.
sit. Yeah.
And someone, of course, there is always someone that says, yes, and then what we do? No, 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 not and then. You do nothing.
Yeah.
Do nothing for 5 minutes. And in 5 minutes, they discover how not simple it is. Not simple at all.
Yeah.
It's so complex. But I think that's the beginning. For my personal
Yeah.
experience, when I started, I didn't know. So I started with contemplation
Hmm.
before meditation.
Yeah.
Okay, since I was a kid, I used to contemplate on things. You said about the monk, yeah?
Yeah.
Or survey or observe the map, contemplate what's the reflection of the light, how it's weighed, using my perception to get ingrained
Mm.
on the relationship with things.
Mm.
And then slowly but slowly, this contemplation, it became melting with something else, with the
Mm.
feeling, with the emotion, with so I started from there. It's been a long journey, and I am not from West, from India, from Thailand. So of course, in Italy, if you see nowadays, it's not like this. But back in the days, because I'm 50 now, back in the days, if you see someone closing the eyes and staying there, what do you do? You sleeping? What do you do? Yeah, you cannot say I meditate. So you stay with the eyes open, and yeah, with the eyes open and focusing on something until that something it becomes everything that you take in consideration.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you start to realize there is more about what you are taking in consideration.
Mm.
So it's a kind of looping
Yeah. Yeah.
situation.
Yeah.
It's a little bit different compared to meditation, but I think still, if you close your eyes, you don't do nothing for 5 minutes, purposely, how
Mm-hmm.
do you say?
purposely.
Yeah, you speak very good English.
Thank you.
Anyway, you do it after 2 or 3 weeks, you discover so many things about yourself already with this
Mm,
little piece of
yeah,
practice.
yeah,
Yeah, but then there is much more. On YouTube, we see lots of people talking about the real meditation, and I'm diving to the last topic. Okay, the real meditation. This is real meditation. This is not real meditation. And also, I want to add something on the topic here: the advanced meditation or the basic meditation. You know, I support the concept of this meditation is more complex. It takes more effort, or it take not effort is not the right word, but you understand what I'm saying.
yeah.
It's more complex. There is more to grasp on that.
Mm,
Or this kind of meditation, it's easy. For example, don't do nothing. There is not something else. For example, breathing. For example, seven. For example, counting the breathing. And
yeah,
it adds lots of things.
yeah.
But I don't think, I don't know your opinion, but I don't think there's no such advanced meditation. What do you
Who
think?
is meditating?
Yeah.
Right? Who is doing the advanced meditation? So, yeah, no, you can't.
Tell me something about real meditation or not real meditation. You have different separation also in your culture. Now you're
Yeah,
thinking, now you're contemplating,
yeah.
so
So the Ashtanga yoga, of course, different people classify it in different ways, but the most popular one, which comes under the pathway of Raja Yoga,
mm,
I think most people have at least heard of Ashtanga Yoga. Most people don't know what it means, but it's 8 steps and it's really good. And actually, we've been having a big discussion on meditation, but the first 2 steps of Ashtanga Yoga are actually Yama and Niyama, which are a set of rules.
mm,
If you are a horrible human being, it doesn't matter how much meditation you do. You're talking about the rich people. I mean, there's nothing wrong with being rich. But if you're the sort of billionaire who's building his empire on dead bodies and cheating, like a lot of medical, you know, enterprises, for example, they tell, I know doctors who've told me that they said the first day, what is that? Not initiation, when they have that orientation.
mm.
They were told you need to bring these many people or else we fire you. I mean, that's
Oh yeah, yeah. It's a
so
business.
if
It's a
you're doing a
business, not a
business,
mission.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
if you own a business like that, which is making money on the blood of people,
Yeah, out of the people.
you can do as much meditation as you like. You're not, you can improve your mind to some extent. Having a good mind is a great asset in this world.
Yes.
But you're not doing any real, that is very unreal meditation. It's pointless. Like, why even bother? Right? But so the first 2 steps are yama and niyama, the do's and don'ts. Don't lie, don't hurt anyone, all of this. Then there's the whole veg and non-veg discussion, oh, if you're a meditator, you are a vegetarian, and I will hurt you with my words because you're a violent human being. But I'm okay. I'm a vegetarian. I don't hurt anyone at all.
I
I
don't hurt.
only
I
I
don't
only
hurt
hurt
anyone.
non-vegetarians through my words, but that doesn't count because I meditate. I'm so divine. No, you know what? So,
No, I don't hurt no one, but I'm not vegetarian. I
that's
eat animals, and you find either in this category or in this other one bad people.
we forget that we are hurting. I mean, I'm not saying all, but some of the vegans you come across are the most violent people you can come across. They're so aggressive, all the horrifying videos and shoving it in people's faces, insulting them. If that's not violence, then what is? So, non-violence in your actions, non-violence in your speech, in how you behave, when your karma gets over, you will lose the desire to eat certain foods. And, as long as you're not overeating, if you're a vegetarian, but you're overeating, that's violence.
Mm-mm-mm. Also to yourself.
Also to yourself,
Yeah.
yes. So, yeah. So, so
You remind
non-violence.
me a joke
Mhm.
that I read on Facebook actually.
Okay.
These guys, they were arguing, no, I'm a vegetarian, I'm better than you. No, no, I eat animals, I eat cows, I'm better than you. No, cows, you shouldn't eat. And all of a sudden, the non-vegetarian says, my meal shit on your meal. was hilarious to see the cow, the shit on the grass, and the veg. It
Yeah.
was so harsh anyway. But you remind me this joke that to me there's no fight anymore because you should be free to manifest yourself as you wish. I know lots of people that would like to be vegetarian but they cannot because they need certain integration, for example, hemoglobin through animals or through certain meals that they involve animals.
Yeah.
And even if conceptually they wouldn't like, but the body asks. So I think we should avoid this kind of fighting or reacting to do this.
Exactly.
And also to eat should be an enjoyment.
Yeah.
Okay, should be something that you enjoy, that you like. I know lots of people that because they say they love the animals, they don't enjoy their food for like 40 years, and they don't understand that underneath they are developing lots of anger because they would like to do something else instead.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
yeah,
So,
yeah. So this is about the rules that you were
how,
saying.
yeah, how do you incorporate them, you know? Violence is not, we have unfortunately come down to this whole violence business as just vegetarian or non-vegetarian. But I mean, it's so much more than that. You know,
Yes.
there's violence in your actions, there's violence in your thoughts, there's violence in your manifestation of desires. I know people who do intense chanting and stuff basically to just have the power to trample over other people's heads and move forward, you know. Real success actually comes a lot more easily when you collaborate. How much we have gained by just sharing, you know.
Yeah,
We're not competing, we're going
absolutely
together.
no, no,
So I'm
absolutely.
looking and thinking,
There's
oh
no
my God,
competition
yeah.
because you're better than me. So there's no competition. Never, never. Every time that I say something, you say better. So I'm okay with that. You
It's
know,
just
I
like,
never compete for that.
yeah,
I like to get better on things, and I always find myself ignorant because I stay with people who knows better than me. So if you don't
exactly,
do like this, you don't get better.
exactly.
There's a saying says if you are on the table, you are the most intelligent person.
Hmm.
You,
Yeah, you're not going to grow anymore.
no, that's the wrong table for you.
Yeah, yeah,
So yeah, with this attitude that I have,
yeah,
I I I don't violate things. I don't violate thoughts. I don't. No, I ask. I receive a lot. So
yeah.
yes, I agree with not with competition, but what you say with
Collaboration.
collaboration.
Yeah,
Yes, I agree. I agree. Also because you have certain needs, I have certain needs.
yeah.
Sometimes we do the same things, but for different purpose, for
Hmm.
different reason.
Yeah,
And if you don't scratch the surface and you calm down and you ask without ego, without
yeah,
and being humble, you cannot understand something. And I think these things, I mean, be a good person
yeah.
in this society needs certain rules. Needs to be said, don't do this, don't do that, but
Hmm.
do this instead and do that. Even if for a human being, conscious human being, you shouldn't need to say something. Yeah, you shouldn't need to
Yeah.
say don't slap the face of someone else.
Yeah.
But
Some people
suddenly,
need that
no,
instruction.
suddenly we need to write it on the constitution. Don't kill people. But why you tell me? I don't want to. I
Yeah.
should. Yeah. So talk more about this Raja Yoga and after you
Yeah,
said.
so the do's and the don'ts,
Mm,
and then you move into yoga, what the world calls yoga, which is actually asana. Asana literally means a pose, to sit. Asana actually, very often I will say, I will offer you an asana when you come. Asana literally also means seat.
take a seat.
Take a seat, yes. So it's really about being able to sit without any disturbance from the body. That's the whole point of doing asana. It's not about getting into all these fancy poses,
Which can help, but it's not about this.
Yeah, which is
Yeah.
nice. But the idea of doing asana is to build the sort of resilience in your body so that you can sit without moving. Actually, even through asana, there is a method where there's this thing called asan siddhi, where certain sections, the teacher will tell you, you have to learn to sit for 3 hours in one pose. Pick any pose, but you sit without moving. It's not like you're sitting like this and then after some time you're like, oh, that hurts. So
Yeah, people
now
at home,
I'm
don't
still
do it
sitting.
so long. If you never done it, don't do it, because
I
the day after, do you don't walk.
You can't do it. You simply
You
cannot do it.
cannot.
Yeah, I know two people in my life who've pulled this off so far, and they took months of training to be able to get there.
Yes, of course, months of
Yeah,
trainings, if not years. I mean,
yeah,
it took me more than 3 years, to cross my leg. And I'm every day, I'm gonna do
yeah,
it, I'm gonna do it. And now I can do it. But after 30, 40 minutes, one of my leg, if not all of them, they're dead. Like, oh,
yeah.
hello,
For
are
me,
you here? Yeah.
yeah, for me, my capacity is 1 hour, but when I heard the 3 hours, I was like, it sounds very lucrative, but this is
Yeah,
not
but
for
also
me.
the back to stay
Yeah,
still. Yeah, sometimes you forgot the focus because the back is hurting so
yeah,
much.
yeah.
So people at home,
Don't do this at
quiet,
home.
as they say in Thailand, cha cha, go slow. Okay, you can do
Take
it,
your
but takes
pace.
time. Takes
Yeah,
time. There's nothing bad to say. It takes time. It takes energy. Sometimes it takes money, because if you do this practice, you're not working. So, but remember, you are investing in yourself. What she said is, having a nice mind, having a clear mind, it's a good asset. The asset is not only buying a car or buying an apartment. So we're
way
talking
more
about,
valuable.
yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes. So now you're talking about asana and
Asana.
yoga, which
Yeah.
is more physical.
Yeah, even a few asanas before your meditation, right? Like the Vajrasan, for example,
Mm.
where you sit on your ankles.
Mm.
So mostly people just stretch their feet out like this when they're sitting in Vajrasan. But if you actually sit on your toes, it really strengthens your calves.
Oh,
That removes most knee problems.
oh,
Yeah. So even
yeah, because it does like this, the rotation of
yeah,
the knees.
yeah.
Yes, yes.
So even when I was having a little problem once, my knee kept sleeping, in one puja, which was like a long puja the priest was doing for us. And I kept shifting a little, and he was like, "What's wrong with you?" I said, "My leg is falling asleep. Do Vajrasan." Like this is such a known thing. So a few minutes of Vajrasan, like anybody having a knee problem, just do Vajrasan for even 10 seconds. Because when you sit on your toes, it is so excruciating. If you can pull off 10 seconds, that's a lot.
Yeah.
So just 10 seconds every day and your knee problems disappear, you know. So when you do that before you meditate, it will extend your time that you can sit comfortably. A few twists, so just a few
Mhm.
asanas even before your meditation practice, it really helps. So with this, you first stabilize the body. Of course, in the journey, they actually recommend doing yoga more intensely, the asanas more intensely,
Yeah, yeah,
first
it's
so that
part of
you
the path.
build, yeah, you build this strength in your body. And then you move on to regulating the breath. Now that the body is steady, your lungs are stronger, then you start doing the breathing, and actually processes like Iyengar yoga, they even combine the two. So like they'll make you hold a pose for 3 minutes and then the pranayama automatically happens.
Yeah,
But then, there is so much, and of course you're into breath work, so you know the power of humming,
of course.
that itself is so healing. So people don't realize that actually in this whole process, see, when you're doing the asanas, you are stretching certain parts of your body. So when the energy gets stuck because of your mind, when you're stretching it, it's releasing it. So
Yes.
you are fixing your mind through asanas, then you're fixing your breath again. So the breath is the first step that gets affected when your mind is affected. So again, you're stabilizing the mind even more through pranayama. And then you're still not ready for meditation yet. Then the next step is pratyahara, which is turning your attention inwards. Because what's the first thing that happens when you sit to meditate? Everything else becomes so loud,
Yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah, yeah. Of course.
So many times the mothers in my class
That's
are like,
where
my children were screaming and I just wanted to go down and slap them.
that's when you become really violent to
Yeah.
people. Shut up. I meditated.
Stop
I don't care.
making
Why you don't care?
too much noise.
Too much noise.
Yeah. You know, the best meditation I've had, one of the best is actually, I don't remember. No, you've not met Rohit. But we were standing in the middle of a busy traffic junction in Bangalore
Oh,
in the night.
oh.
So there's like the lights, you know, there's continuous lights and India. So you know
So
everything.
different from
Yeah.
yeah.
So we're standing in the middle of a traffic junction and we just, you know, not even with eyes closed, it was with eyes open. We were like watching, but then just going beneath that reactive
Yes.
thing, you know?
You see, you have always the word, the perfect word. I would like to know where you buy this perfect word.
I'll
I
give
want to buy as
I'll
well.
give you the secret if you want later. There is one.
Okay, okay. But yeah, it happens to me. I tend to meditate on the beach because one of my meditation is meditating with the waves
Mm.
of the sea because they you cannot count them. They are
Ah,
so different. Is nature. It brings me inside so easily. And what I say always is, okay, I meditate a little bit, the crowd, the people disappear. Then disappeared the sea, then disappear myself.
yeah,
That that's what I can say about what I feel.
yeah,
The rest is my experience. I cannot describe because it's so personal and it's nothing to hide. But whatever words I put on that
yeah,
experience is already too much.
yeah,
So that's what I say. Yes, and I had so many times this experience of okay, switch. I don't react.
yeah.
That's it. Yeah. And but this is not yet finished.
No,
Oh,
we're just
you
starting.
have so many steps, and now you ask why it takes so long, huh? Yeah, but this is only preparation, kind of,
We're still
kind of.
only preparing,
You
yes.
still
Yeah,
you still have certain result because the body, because the breath,
yeah,
because the mind,
yeah,
but you're still in preparation of
yeah,
meditation.
yeah.
Okay, and then what happens?
So there's the pranayama and then the pratyahara, right? So pratyahara is the turning inwards. So just watching what's happening inside, becoming aware,
Mm.
you know. Um, Pratyahara, I think if you really do it very powerfully, this is probably why we need all the preparation because it can make you very sensitive. This is actually preparing you for the whole psychic abilities and everything because then you start to receive information. Most people have no clue what's going on inside, right?
Oh
I
yeah.
have clients and I ask them, what are you feeling? And they say, I don't know. Or, you know, and they're completely off the mark. And I'm aware because I know what's going on inside me and I know what's going on inside them. And I'm like, no, you're not upset, you're relieved. And they're like, oh, how did you know?
Mm.
Because I'm watching you and me, and you know. So most people have no, and men, it used to be that, you know, men used to be worse than women. But now it's the same because all men are, sorry, all women have also become men now. Women have disappeared. You know, everybody is a man.
But we
Nobody
don't take
feels anything.
but we don't take this conversation over because this conversation we keep it for another, yeah, for another video. We already talk about feminine and masculine, you remember?
Yeah, yeah,
But I want to dig in more. But yes, you're right.
yeah,
So many people don't know what's going on inside.
yeah.
Yeah, they are always reacting. They're not acting in life. They are always reacting,
Why are
reacting,
you so
reacting.
angry? I'm not angry. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah,
such a common thing.
yeah. But also when you ask to people what's going on inside,
Mm, mhm.
they people who don't get used to, they don't know what to do. They
Passive aggressive.
yes, yes, yes. They are like astonished by, oh, I feel something inside I never felt.
Yeah.
Someone has this kind of revelation, but then they dissociate because it can be scary.
Yeah.
All this preparation that Ashwita she is talking, and obviously in Italy, obviously in America, obviously in other parts of the world, I think that there are other kind of preparation. Okay, maybe also to trauma, maybe also to relationship. I don't know,
Mm,
but there is a preparation in somehow.
mm.
It's important because then when you get inside, there is let's say, a good part and a bad part.
Mm.
And obviously, when you see a bad part, you can get scared. The problem is not release that bad part, but listening to, accepting that is there. It's not you, it's part of you.
Yeah.
That one is even more complex for someone. I know certain people, they cannot meditate on eyes closed, and I know because I asked them, stay closed, stay with the eyes closed for 30 seconds, and they do like this literally.
Oh my God.
Yeah, they cannot. It's too intimate for them.
Yeah.
So when you start to move inward, you start to realize something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's also very interesting when, you have a, let's just, yeah, let's just call it a meditator talking to a non-meditator. Like for example, we could be having a discussion and I could be like, "Oh, Caruso, you can be so lazy."
Mm.
But now somebody else is listening and they're like, "She is judging Caruso."
Mm-hmm.
But lazy is lazy, it doesn't have to be good or bad. It's just, it is as it is. So I've had people just react back, like, how could you say that? That's so mean. And I'm like, but like I said, white mug. Now, if I'm saying white mug,
Mm.
why would you take that as a judgment unless I actually said that's an awful white mug? That's a judgment. But white mug, lazy,
Yeah, we are
kind.
attached with the adjective in
Yeah.
linguistic. Yeah, the adjective is something that create a meaning or create a
Mhm.
description of what it is itself. But whoa,
And even that
this
changes.
topic is
Yeah,
huge.
huge.
It's huge. The judgment, they studied a lot about judge. So there's a part of the brain that it's that it does judge always, continuously,
Mm,
continuously. But this is for our safe.
yeah,
It's like a protection.
yeah,
Okay. But when you meditate, it's like someone who jump without protection. You jump.
yeah,
Okay. And you feel every inch that you go down, what happened. Uh, yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Go ahead and
Okay,
finish
so
this.
after Pratyahara, you've got Dharna. Now, finally, you are starting to use your mind
Mm,
because after going inwards, now you start concentrating. So, like Pratyahara could be, you're just sitting and then you realize, oh my God, my foot is hurting. So you're just watching that pain. And then you're like, oh, now my shoulder is hurting. So you're watching the shoulder. So you're like, you're all over the place. But now, and they do this very nicely in Vipassana also. They start you off with, everything. And then they're like, okay, now observe the breath in the belly, then observe the breath in the chest and stuff.
it's
So
kind of a body scan in the Western culture.
yeah, the body scan is more like the pratyahara, I think.
Mhm.
And then coming to the breath, just so
Yes.
just one
Oh,
one
layer
point.
and layer and
Yes.
layer. Yes.
So now, for example, if I tell you just keep your focus, people tend to focus on the nostrils. I don't recommend that so much because it activates the third eye and it's
Mm,
already overactivated. So what I recommend is keeping the breath you keeping the focus in the belly. It's more grounding.
mm-mm,
So if you decide, okay, I'm just going to watch the movement of my breath,
mm,
the belly as I breathe. Now you're centering your attention on one point. It's concentration. So
mm.
you're still not really meditating. I don't think anyone can really do meditation. You can go as far as dharana, concentration. And beyond that, meditation happens. Like, can you sleep as a verb? Can you actually sleep? Nobody can sleep. We can only prepare to sleep and hope we will fall asleep.
Yeah.
So I've actually guided people into meditation sometimes by telling them, pretend that you're going to sleep, but don't sleep. Because the Osho says this too, right? Meditation is conscious sleep. So
I
that
have
that helps very,
I have
very
an
nicely.
experience of that. Since I was a kid, I used to play this game. I want to know when I sleep,
Oh,
the exact moment. And either or you lose because you sleep and they say,
yeah.
oh no, I didn't see the morning after. You say, oh, I didn't
Missed
recognize
it.
when I sleep. Or you stay up all night.
Yeah.
Say, Is now? No, it was not.
No, not yet.
It's now, no, not yet, not yet. Yeah, I have for many years I've done this game.
Oh my
So
God.
yeah, yeah. But you make me think because when I started to meditate more formally, more, I had the same game. Am I meditating or not? And the more you ask, the more you're not.
Yeah.
And which is the same in hypnosis. The more you try to understand if you are in hypnosis, the more you're not.
Yeah.
So it's another way to say you need to learn how to letting go. Even that one.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. And then finally you move to dhyana, like I said, it automatically happens. And then you move to samadhi, which is the total dissolution of, like you said, I don't exist, you don't exist.
But
So,
this samadhi, I want to tell you something that maybe people comment below, but I don't want to offend no one. But I had this experience so many times, so many times. And I think you don't need to be someone that meditate for 50 years. It can happen. Just you're not aware that it happened.
yeah.
Because I think it happened in between each moment. You know, each moment it's quantized like quantum physics. Yeah, this
Yeah.
is a moment. This is a moment. In between, there is nothing.
Yeah.
And you start to be aware of that nothing.
Yeah.
You reach that state,
Yeah.
and I did it so many times. And then, as soon as you say, "Oh, I'm in," no, no, I'm not. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we do we do experience it as the flow, right? When you're sitting, you don't really the experiencer completely disappears. But I think all artists, that is why it is so much easier to be on the spiritual pathway if you're an artist, I think.
Mm.
Because you're already used to that flow state. Others experience it too, but I think the ratio is probably higher among artists. They're just in there, the flow.
I underline something. When we speak about experience in spiritual path,
Mm-hmm.
we think different things because you believe strongly in God, in gods, in goddess, in this, in deity. I don't, but I still believe there is spiritual. For example, in the relationship with nature, with animals. So it's not something attached to an object. If it goes over the objectification,
Hmm.
you already in a spiritual path for me, for my personal view.
Yeah.
So for many people there that don't believe in God or if they have no religion, don't worry because you can manage this kind of path in your own way.
Oh, yeah.
Do you agree?
Yeah, I mean, in Hindu culture, you are welcome to believe whatever you like. We have
Yeah, you
complete
see,
atheists that are also practicing the Hindu system,
which is not like this in the
in the
Christian
West.
church. Yeah, and oh no, 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 no,
Yeah.
no. You have to believe in that. No,
And in the same family, you can have, one person is a total, she's like for the goddess, and someone else is like, no, Krishna is the ultimate God. Because we understand that it's easier to relate to something if we personify, right? Why do
Mhm.
we like to do video calls as opposed to an audio call? Why do we like the video on? Because we want to put a face to what
Yeah,
we're saying.
yeah, 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 yeah.
But that doesn't mean that that's all you are, right?
And
Like,
also, there's a reason why certain religion prohibit, how do you say,
yeah, prohibits. Yeah,
prohibit
yeah,
the iconography,
yeah,
the anthropomorphization of God. For example, Muslim, they
yeah,
cannot. I mean, Allah is something that you cannot
yes,
have. It's not like Jesus. We have the shape, the
yeah,
face of Jesus,
yeah,
which we don't know which one is it because there are lots of face of Jesus. Anyway.
yeah.
So yeah, this discussion, I think it's been almost complete. I think people can appreciate how meditation can be seen from many angles.
Mhm.
They can search for path, very complex, long, when they take place and they being instructed to do something for their life, for the rest of their life.
Yeah,
Also, can they find courses very easy where they just start to do something.
mhm.
For me, either way, if you start meditate, is good because in a certain way you become a better version of yourself because you know yourself better. Do
Yeah.
you agree?
Yeah.
Okay. So with this in mind, we can finish here.
What would be your last message?
My
One
last
line
message
message.
is remember that the path is to know yourself and manifest yourself to the world, quote unquote, the world. Okay.
Mm.
So it's about existence, it's not about life. It takes time, doesn't matter, but it's a nice journey. Your last
Nice.
one.
I would like to, really put the stress on what the Buddhists say, pay no heed. Because when you start meditating, so many things will come up. And I think in today's generation, people get the most stuck with these spiritual insights. My spirit guide has given me a message, or something.
Mm.
As an artist, we get stuck with you'll find the most brilliant ideas coming to you when you sit and meditate, then you can't meditate anymore. And some people will see all these colors. Every time I have a group, people are like, oh Shweta, I saw these colors and I was crying and I had these amazing experiences. And everybody else is like, but I didn't do any of that, so did I screw up? And I'm like, no. So pay no heed. None of this is real. None of this is important. All that matters is that you're sitting down every day,
Every day.
not doing anything, not expecting anything, because then that you're in the future. Be here now. That's it.
Here now we are. Bye bye, people. Please comment below if you want that we talk about some other topics. And thank you so much, Ashwita. Ashwita will be back to India maybe what, 10,
Soon.
15
Yeah.
days? And maybe we will meet on Zoom again. Bye bye.